Welcome, folks. Episode 658 of the Boxing Asylum. Nuthouse headed your way. You can find us here on Sundays, 8 o'clock in the UK, 12 o'clock Pacific time in the United States. Check us out, patreon.com/boxing asylum for more of the adventures. And boy, did we have an adventure this week. Anyhow, we are here to talk boxing, and there was plenty of it to go around. And I mean that both in a number of fights and the size of the people fighting it out in the ring. With Tyson Fury getting a decision over Arslanbek Makhmudov. I find that easier to say than spell, in a fight where he kind of did what he wanted after the first couple of rounds, and that was that. Honest with you guys, I dozed off in the seventh round. If there was anything that interesting that happened after that, feel free to fill me in on that, James.
No, it was more of the same. I think the pattern was set probably around.
Are you envious of my nap, basically?
Well, the same thing happened to my friend. I think he fell asleep in the 10th or 11th, so you're not alone. Yeah, I think Fury, given the amount of time he was away, I think he looked quite good, to be honest. Maybe a little bit cumbersome in the first round or two. But once he got going,
straight back a little bit more than I've commonly seen him do. He wasn't cutting angles quite as much.
Yeah, he seemed content to kind of just backpedal into the ropes, then make some lateral movements from there. But I think once he started to time Makhmudov, I think his jab looked good. I think that he did some pretty good punching to the body in the clinch. And I think he disguised his punches quite well once he got his feints going. So probably not a really exhilarating display, but definitely evidence that he's still got something to offer at or near the top of the heavyweight division, for sure.
Yeah, and it was such a pedestrian performance that, pardon me for doing this, but I think, honestly, the most interesting part of the entire fight was after the fight when Turki Al-Sheikh tried to get Eddie Hearn in the ring and Anthony Joshua to say, yeah, we're going ahead with this Tyson Fury Anthony Joshua fight. And Eddie didn't seem too inclined to move, if I recollect. And AJ flipped him the bird and kind of seemed a little bit non-committal at the end of the day. And I woke up for the decision. I'm like, well, this is entertainment. Fuck, that fight was nothing. So that was the bigger story, I think, is everybody's looking at this fight, and at this point in time, Eddie and AJ seem kind of not committed to it, and maybe it's because of bad blood, this, that, or the other. But Dez, I found this a far more interesting storyline than anything that happened in the fight that I saw.
Matty, can you come back to me in literally 2 minutes? I've just got to send a text message to someone.
You're fine. I'll send that exact same thing over to Justin.
Give me about 2 minutes. I got to make a phone call. Honestly, I'll talk about the fight for a second. Soon as the fight ended, I turned it off. I barely made it through the round, so I didn't even watch any of the Joshua bullshit or the Turkey guy with his matching brown shoes looking like a dumbass. I didn't watch any of that crap. The fight to me reminded me of when Fury was on his comeback trail from the fat. That's what it looked like to me. It was just Fury, like, kind of going through the motions, just getting back in shape, kind of knocking the rust off. Makhmudov, there's nobody in this world that's going to tell me he is any good. He is just a big dude, looks like a big rubber dick walking around the ring, no head movement. He stands straight up. He doesn't do anything except that he's just big. That's all he has going for him, is that he's massive. Fury, like I said, this looked like the Pianetta fight. This looked like all those other comebacks he had where he was just getting rounds in. He wanted an opponent so they could do whatever that stupid shit you said they did with Joshua. They had to have him go against somebody. Well, Dave Allen didn't do his job and win, so they had to go with this guy.
Well, and he's so fucking slow. It's like I have a hard time judging what speed Fury has left.
Yeah,
because what are we judging him against in the ring? Like that, that's a shit comparison.
Joe Joyce looks fast. compared to Matt Murdoff. Matt Murdoff has no boxing IQ. He's slow. He doesn't set up any shots. He doesn't do anything except be huge. That is all he could do, is just be massively huge and have an enormous head. And Fury,
you can't win a fight if you can't bully his opponent at the end of the day.
That's how you're right. If you watch anything Matt Murdoff's done his whole career, he pushes his guys to the ropes. He, like you said, he holds them down. He flat out, he punks them. That's how he wins. And if you can stand up to him, he can't beat you. It's Dave Allen's biggest problem was that he's not that good, but also he's just not big enough. He's just not.
I think Dave Allen hurt Makhmudov worse than Fury did.
Allen hurt Makhmudov like 3 times. He just wasn't big enough to capitalize on it. And Fury, I wouldn't use. He was out so long, so it's hard to say, oh, he should have knocked him out. He should have looked better. I kind of felt like Fury would sort of look like this anyway. He would come in looking like he always does. Fury can be in the best shape of his life, and he's still going to look huge. I think that's just who he is now. He's always going to look massively overweight, regardless of how good a shape he's in. So you really can't look at the Wilder fights. He didn't look great shape sometimes in those. You can't really judge him on that. That's just how he is.
He is an oddity in that sense. I'll give you.
Yeah, he just looks like he's out of shape, but he might be in incredible shape for all we know. But yeah, this was a nothing fight. We all knew it was going to be a nothing fight. James might have more to talk about. I didn't watch any. Like I said, as soon as that bell rang, I wasn't even watching it. I was just kind of had it on in the corner and was peering back and forth, seeing if maybe Fury would stop him. But after 5 or 6 rounds,
it settled into a pattern, right?
Yeah,
and that's why I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah, he wasn't going to knock him out there because he wasn't even trying for it. After a few rounds, he was just getting the work in. He was just doing enough to win the rounds, and it was boring as hell. And y'all can talk about the AJ shit. Like I said, I barely made the fight.
You're fine. Des, you back with us?
Yes, mate. Sorry about that, Matty. Just as I come on,
Yeah,
I've got a few text messages of blokes who've got to be dealt with tomorrow. So it's all gone, mate. All yours now.
You're fine. You fucking deal with them, and you deal with them with some cement galoshes. Sons of bitches. But so yeah, the same thing back. Like going back to the Fury, AJ, Turkey, Eddie drama, like that. That was far more interesting than the fight, and I think there was a lot to take from that exchange, and I think how Eddie feels about Turkey at this moment, and just how AJ kind of feels about the sport, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was a bit of a balls up. I think that was all on different pages. I think maybe a conversation's happened where one party has said to the other, come along, sit ringside, and when the fight's over, he'll call you out and we'll make a big show of it. I think Fury done something similar to Wilder when Wilder beat Ortiz, or I think they got in the ring and they had a big face-off and it sort of had to be pulled apart. And that builds the fight. And you would have thought at this stage, draft contracts would have been sort of done and they would know where they're going with this fight. They would know what the money's going to be there or thereabouts, and they know what the terms and conditions are, where it's going to be. You'd have thought that's all gone on behind the scenes, because I don't think anyone thought that Makhmudov was going to beat Tyson. I think this was meant to be a tune-up for Tyson to get his timing back. So it looked to me at the 11th hour, maybe the people behind AJ, maybe Matchroom thought, let's keep our hand to ourselves here. Let's not make it too easy for them. And I think there's been a little bit of there's been a lot of unsettling moves, and I don't know the politics around it all, but Turkey going in a direction with is it Zuffa and Conor Ben going off with them as well, and they've split their stable and the agreement they had, and they've brought people in. So I think that probably Matchroom and AJ thought, let's keep our hand close to our chest. Let's not do exactly what they want when they want. Let's not make it that easy. And I think that's what they did last night. I felt it went down like a damp squid. I think it was like a jelly on a wet mattress. AJ was totally disinterested, didn't get off his chair. Eddie wouldn't respond to Turkey, didn't want to get in the ring. This is the geezer that was holding his hand a few months ago. So something's definitely gone down. I don't quite think it went how they wanted it to go, but I think we can always safely assume that the next one for both of them is going to be Fury and AJ at White Hart Lane. I think, or Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I think that's going to be that's the direction needs to go in. But I don't expect too much out of either of them. I think what we're seeing now is the last days of Tyson Fury, and I think perhaps his lifestyle's catching up with him. This is a guy that's been retired 5 times. What a piss take that is. This is a guy that fights once every 12 to 16 months. AJ's not very active. He got blown out against Dubois. He's been beaten twice by Usyk. Got blown out against Ruiz. He looks shell shocked, as done for the last few years. Fury physically has never looked so bad. Never looked so bad. And I know he's been out for 16 months, and last night was about getting his timing right and getting his feet right. But I just think his lifestyle's starting to catch up with him now. And I think we've had the best of these two. So this is going to be a big version of Mayweather and Pacquiao in my eyes. I think you're going to get it, but it ain't what it should have been or could have been.
Yeah, well, and it was great to see him come out to some Blue Moon for Ricky and in the Man City Blue and all that. But in the bad part of that, James, like, there is a lot of Ricky Hatton and Tyson Fury. Of course, Tyson Fury is a more skillful fighter, but the excessive substance use, blowing up between fights, having to have longer camps, most of it just based on fitness alone. There are parallels, and God, I hope it doesn't meet the same end, but it's just all part of the drama that is the Tyson Fury show.
Yeah, when you frame it like that, the similarities are quite worrying, aren't they, really? But I think he's been fairly open about not being able to give the sport up. I mean, you've got to think about the space he's occupied.
Same with Ricky.
Yeah,
he's training for that stupid comeback when he took his life.
Yeah, exactly. So I can't really empathize with people who have experienced the highs and lows of winning and losing at the highest level of the sport that they've been training in since they were kids. So I hope he's able to kind of transition into another area that kind of ticks or scratches a similar itch. I hope this Netflix thing is giving him the kind of attention that he needs. He does, he likes to be the center of attention, bombastic personality, etc. But he can't do this forever. Of that, there's no doubt whatsoever. And maybe two or three more fights for Fury. After that, it's anybody's guess. But I think he'll be looking to maximize his remaining time in the sport. And that, it's interesting what you said about Anthony Joshua. He really was non-committal. And you wouldn't expect him to be, looking like his normal self after what he's been through. But that is the biggest fight. I agree with Des. Everyone looked like they were at 6s and 7s. Like, usually everyone's on song. And I think there was a massive bit of discord there. But I would say that is the fight, isn't it? I know it's about 5 years too late, but surely that's the next move for both.
I was going to type this into the chat, but fuck it, I'll just say it. Yes, Mr. Yimmy Yappy. Fury's skill set is better than Ricky Hatton's skill set. Period. End of story. You can disagree with me all you fucking want. I'm a huge Hatton fan, but no, Tyson Fury's skill set is better than Ricky Hatton's was. Would anybody dispute that? That's on the pod right now?
No.
Okay, then. Okay. So, yeah, and it's just, I don't know, it's madness. And AJ, like, he went through hell. Like, he's got to decide what he's doing. But let me say this, he showed a certain level of stoicism yesterday that I am impressed by. And I think whether he gets into a boxing ring in a competitive fashion again or not, I think the relationship with Usyk is paying dividends for him in ways that will help him going forward.
Well, hold on, Matty. Just to put a little bit of balance on this, AJ did go along last night. He was sitting ringside with his promoter. He did go on record last night. He got in the ring and said, "I'm the landlord. I'm the governor. Boxing's all about me, and this fight will happen, but only when I decide it can happen and when the money's right." So, he ain't being dragged kicking and screaming, is he?
Yeah.
He's clearly ready to do it if the price is right. So let's get a little bit of balance here. Last night was all about making this fight and telling the people it's. I mean, the way Turkey jumped in the ring and Frank Warren jumped in the ring and they was all pointing at AJ was sitting 6 foot from them. This was meant to happen last night, but something happened at the 11th hour, and people behind AJ and the matchroom team said, "Let's just throw a spanner in the works and let's show them that we hold the ace card as well." We know
they tried to get the Hooney fight off the card too. Like
they did, yeah.
They fucked around a little bit. They did.
Yeah, so they wanted to flex their muscles as well. This is all, there's a little bit of a pissing contest going on here. I still think we'll see the fight, but it isn't what it was. It isn't what it could have been, should have been. It ain't nothing close to that. I mean, there's new people have come into the heavyweight scene, and there's new fighters now that offers more intrigue, and there's probably bigger fights out there now, or fights with certainly a lot more jeopardy and tell us an awful lot more. But it's still an intriguing fight, and these two are both going to sell a lot of tickets. But last night was an interesting one because you could absolutely see that you've got two groups here under the one umbrella that don't seem to like each other and not very happy with each other.
Yeah, and it just, and I got to be honest with you, the best part of it was just seeing Turkey like get made to look like a dick, you know. Like it usually just waves his finger and everybody comes and they hold his fucking hand and away it goes. It just wants to see somebody be like,
he is a dick. Allegedly, he is a dick.
Yeah, I would imagine. But it was just nice to see. And I'll tell you what, just as a segue there, and just like the fact if there's not more to that, the supposed deal for $15 million for Conor Benn from Zuffa, but it was on a Netflix card. I don't know. And the fact that went that far, and Prograis did reveal after the fight that he had an injured hand, injured rib, and an injured jaw, I think, too. I'm surprised it wasn't injured leg because
he had to have a bad foot, though. He had to have a bad foot.
It was, I mean, how did that fight go the fucking distance?
Because Conor Benn sucks.
Yes,
that's
why. And let me say this. So in our segment, I'm going to give Eddie Hearn a lot of credit here. He basically spun fucking turds from the local shit pond into gold is what that man did. He took a guy who was feasting off of old champions and fair to middling fighters and guys who actually knew their way around a bit, gave him fits like Adrian Granados. That dude will be eternally underrated in that kind of gatekeeper status area. He was a really solid fighter. Gave Ben fucking fits, and then a pop positive fucking test. It turns it into a fight against a guy who they have to drain twice to come away from those fights at 500. Okay, fucking 50% in the W column against fucking absolutely weight drained, emasculated fucking Chris Eubank Jr. And now try to get him back down to 147 pounds for a potential title opportunity. So they put him in there against Regis Prograis, who is done. Finished. Mm-hmm. He got dropped, hurt multiple times by fucking blown up Jojo Diaz, a lightweight who was not even a puncher at that weight. And honestly, we were saying he probably should have gone back down to 130. But he keeps bouncing up. He's got a good chin, keeps going the distance for these guys, but he's not a puncher. And he was hurting Prograis badly. And Ben, I mean, I guess he stiffened Prograis' legs a few times, but it wasn't much going on there. Like that was
embarrassing.
It should have been an absolute walk in the park for him, and he had to actually work his way through that fight. I mean, if you want to talk about winners and losers of last night, Turkey Al-Sheikh looks like a fucking asshole. All this stuff put together.
Well, it's like. You saw in the first round that Prograis could not. He said he didn't say his leg or his foot, but his leg and foot didn't look right. He couldn't put a lot of weight on his back foot at times. You could tell it would sometimes it would kind of bend on it, would buckle a little bit. So you count the fact that he had And I believe everything he said because, there was rumors this fight was going to get called off because of injuries. I think Prograis just said, you know what? Might be my last shot. I have to go out and fight no matter how hurt I am.
Yeah,
Because
get some money in
I
the
have to have the
fucking bank.
money. I have to have that money. And this is my last shot that anybody's going to pay me millions to fight anymore. Ben was jerking and dancing around like an idiot. I mean, this was like Soul Train.
From the fucking ring entrance. Even the ring entrance looked like a dickhead.
His movement in the ring was so stupid and so wasted. It was pointless. It did not cause Prograis any problems. He just looked like an idiot dancing and stupid shit.
Aircraft carrier says Regis couldn't deal with Ben's speed. Regis wouldn't have been able to deal with Makhmudov's speed.
No, Regis Prograis. We all know Regis Prograis. He peaked versus Josh Taylor. That was the last Regis Prograis.
That fight took something out of both of those cats.
And Prograis hasn't been good ever since that Taylor fight. Last night, Ben, simple as this. They picked an injured, named fighter for Ben to knock out and destroy with his nickname. They were going to be this big $15 million coming out Netflix party, and instead, he got cut up. He had to go the full distance, never hurt Prograis, never really hurt him. He had a guy in Prograis who could not barely move, and all he did was just dance around a little bit. It was an embarrassing performance. That's what Ben is. He's not, let's put it this way, Ben is not god-awful, but he's not good. He is below average, mid-level fighter that they've tried to turn into something more, and the day is coming, trust me. He will have, if it wasn't for Eubank, he never would have made a dime in boxing. He's just lucky that Eubank gave him those fights because he wouldn't have made a dime in boxing. And people remember, he didn't win those fights. He didn't win, ain't like he won both of them easily. So, like, he lost one of those fights. That's embarrassing itself that you lost to a guy who was like Somalian dying of nutrition. The Ethiopian days. This guy. Eubank could have
been
died.
On the run from fucking Boko Haram for years.
Eubank could have died to get that weight cut down for these fights, and still beat him. This is just. Ben, he's his own worst enemy. If he was just hadn't made such a fuss over the failing the test, if he'd have took that test like a man, he would not get half the hell he does. If he just took it like a man. I did it. I screwed up. I tried to make the weight. I'm sorry. No, we're here now. It just shows how much money the Saudis have to burn, but I'll promise you this. Giving him $15 million, I don't care how much money you have to spend. This hurts. This hurts giving him, and this is going to kill Zuffa. I'm telling you, when they look back and say, how much money are we giving Ben? He's never going to make them $15 million profit. Ever.
No. Well, and it's just, I'll tell you, it's just the fact that Ben, after this, and even after paying shit and taxes are cleared and the Eubank stuff, this guy's got to, unless he's like Floyd Mayweather done with his money, he's got to have like 8 figures in fucking cash and assets at this point in time. And you think about that, and I go back to guys like around the weight he's fighting, in last decade or so, who are unheralded and would have beat the living fucking shit out of Conor Benn and actually died without fucking ever getting, real respect that they deserve. Carson Jones, Dez, how badly would Carson Jones have beat the fucking shit out of Conor Benn?
Yeah, and I know where you're going with that, and you're quite right. But
the sport is crooked. There is no justice. It's just fucking filth.
Yeah, so I've been talking about this a lot today, and the best way I can describe this, and you've heard me say this before, we've got to unpack a few things here. Boxing has changed, and I was speaking to a friend of mine who's an old pro from the 80s. Boxing a really, really good gym, probably the best gym in Europe at the time. Worked for one of the best promoters in the country. We were talking about this today, and we see boxing very similar. Boxing has absolutely changed. There used to be a time, and I know I'm an old curmudgeon and I'm old-fashioned about this, and most of the people listening to this podcast, none of us have ever talked Conor Benn up. None of us have ever thought that Murdoch was a serious contender. We all picked him to get beat by Caballero. We're not going to get kidded on. But there are hundreds of thousands, millions that do get kidded on. And the best way I can describe boxing today, this version of boxing, it's like the Milli Vanilli of sport. Do you remember that phrase I used when I used to describe someone as?
Yes, we know Milli Vanilli.
Yeah,
Yes, we
was told these guys are really talented. They're brilliant singers. They're fantastic. And then we all discovered it's a bluff. It's a lie. We've been tricked. And boxing's the Milli Vanilli of sport. Because never before have we seen civilians just come into boxing and make millions and millions of pounds. People that have never done the amateurs, people never won national titles, people never boxed for their country as kids, just walk into the pros, skip all the domestic belts, go in at some sort of top level, be told they're now ranked number one by a governing body and get paid 6-7 figures. We've never seen that before. And we're seeing it now. And because boxing's not what it used to be. And a big part of the reason for that is because the fans don't demand what the fans used to demand. And we on this pod and the people listening to this pod, we're a little bit stuck in the dark ages because we still have demands of our fighters. We still want Conor Benn to look like a WBC number one. But I've got a really sad thing to say. This is what today's WBC number 1 or 2 or 3 looks like. Because it ain't really about talent. It's not really about pedigree. It's not what you've done in the last 10, 15 years, how you transition from being a top amateur to a prospect and to now a contender. It's pretty much what you can sell. And if you look at a kid like Conor Benn, he's just a salesperson. Like from his hair to his tattoos, to the way he talks, to his mannerisms, to his expressions, to when he gets in front of the camera, he's just pitching all the time. He's pitching. Now, last night, for example, I think Justin mentioned it. How they're going to make money out of Conor Benn. I think this is what we call a loss leader. You know, it's like when they sell alcohol at a loss because you've got to walk through the supermarket to get it, and they know you'll pick other things up. And if you're in there doing that, it stops you being in another shop. I genuinely think what they did with Conor Benn is what Vince McMahon's been doing for 20 years. I'm gonna poach your next best talent. I'm gonna take the legs from under you. Now AJ's locked into a lifetime deal with Matchroom and DAZN. So what's the next best talent? I'm gonna take your legs from under you, and that's all they've done. They probably know that we're not going to earn money out of Conor Benn, but I'm going to try and undermine that company. I'm going to try and take the rug from underneath them. And then that's going to put us in front of them. And then what we've got to now do is go and sign some really good fighters. We know Conor Benn doesn't beat anyone close to world level. We're not silly. Now, last night we watched him against a kid like Regis who's probably been shot for 3 years, who wasn't able to move. He had no legs underneath him. I think he started at super feather. He's had his best days at light welter. And I think Conor's been up at sort of middle round, just underneath middleweight. They brought him down to 150. They're not even weighing in at 5, 6 o'clock Friday evening. They're weighing in 7:30 in hotel rooms Friday morning. Like, he's not even making weight.
Weigh-in shit.
It's just another example of the Milli Vanilli of sport. It's how can we do this so that we can con people and trick people? We can present you a product that looks like how it was, but it's nothing like how it was. Because 15, 20 years ago, they was weighing in the afternoon of the fight. And now they're weighing in. Like, if Conor Benn weighed in at 7:30 on a Friday morning and he's not boxing till 9 o'clock Saturday night, there is no disadvantage anymore. You know, you can sort of get drawn down. You can look gaunt. But with the right nutritionist and the right type of expertise, you should be good by Saturday night. And that's what they're doing to us now. So we know what we're getting is substandard. We know it's a bluff. We get it. It's a con job. But the fact, not us, by the way, the people listening to this pod now, the people that are involved in boxing for, 10, 15, 20 years and have demands and expectations. But the people that bought tickets, and I know a few people that were sitting ringside last night, they think Conor Benn's fabulous. They thought Tyson Fury's performance was brilliant, but they think everything they're seeing, that the music, the razzle dazzle, the selfies, the pictures, guys sitting ringside, Mama Jamma, AJ, they think that's great. It's so far away from anything we knew 20 odd years ago.
So, Dish,
But-
what you're saying is that, sorry to interrupt you, but what you're saying is it's
Well,
not
mate,
that they think these guys maybe are the most talented. They're just in love with the show.
they're just
Sometimes,
in love
maybe.
with the show, and if you
The
go
show,
back
yeah,
to,
that gets them. They're having a good time. They love that, and that kind of overshadows the fact that what they're really seeing, they just love the good time.
they're just looking at the outfit. It looks good in a pair of heels and a short skirt. We don't need any more than that. And that's pretty much where boxing is now. And if you look at last night's show, for example, the main event was dog awful. Like, but if you go back to when Lennox Lewis was boxing, or the Klitschko's, or before that, the Holyfields or the Tysons, if they'd had 16 months out, coming out of retirement, they wouldn't have topped a card on a Saturday night. They'd have been on a card, but they wouldn't have topped it.
Well,
And
Tyson came out of prison and he fucking topped that card against McNeely.
No, but he was a unique. That was a unique situation. He was the biggest man in sport, and he'd come out during a 5-year prison sentence. It's like Muhammad Ali coming out off the draft thing. But you know what I'm saying, though, didn't you? Because I remember watching them guys. I remember watching Lennox Lewis and Glover on undercards, big fights. I remember watching Lennox Lewis and Frank Bruno and Gary Mason. I remember watching Evander Holyfield stepping up in weight, all on undercards or as chief supports. But we don't have to have that standard anymore. So we're getting given the Tyson Fury at 16 months out against McMurdoch, who couldn't get past Dave Allen. And in that fight, Dave Allen had his spots. Do you know? So you think, right, so this is the main event. And what's the chief support? Conor, Benn and Regis Prograis. And it only gets worse from now. And the best fight of the night was Fraser and Justice Hooney. That was a proper fight. But that was so far down the card, nobody was in the stadium watching it. But that's where boxing is. It's the milli vanilli of sport. It's not for us anymore. And that sounds really deflating. But my wife said to me last night, she said, you've got boxing on the telly, so why is this no good for you? I said, because the standard is just so low. It's not, there's no jeopardy to this anymore. I mean, there doesn't seem to be any skill set anymore. What we're looking at is just stuff to moan about. Like, McMurdoch was terrible. Fury wasn't much better. His timing was off. He looked really out of shape. I think his lifestyle's catching up with him, and we're in the last days of Fury. I don't expect much better of Anthony Joshua. And I wonder why, in a division where we've got brilliant talents like Moses Atoma, where Daniel Dubois is still relevant, Alexander Usyk is a generational great, and Fabio Wardley has turned the whole sport upside down. I wonder why we're talking about AJ and Fury. I don't know, but we are. So for me, I just think that as an old-fashioned boxing fan, and most of the people in our WhatsApp chat, and most of the people listening tonight, and guys on this panel, we are kind of like dinosaurs now to boxing. And a new boxing fan thought last night was brilliant. And I spoke to a few people this morning. Conor Benn's fantastic, and I can't wait for Fury and AJ. And I'm like, well, I thought Conor Benn was pretty bad. I thought he was really frantic. He was up on his toes. He can't punch. And if a kid like Regis, with all his problems, can leave Conor looking like that, what happens when Conor fights a live one? That's how I'm thinking. And when I looked at the main event, McMurdoch and Fury, I thought, God, this is awful. So we are just a little bit out of touch. And we see this sport now as a little bit of a con job.
Yeah, I mean, James, we have just like eaten this card alive. I mean, can you steel man anything positive for these people, even if you have to kind of have to make you hate yourself temporarily by saying it?
I wasn't offended by the card, but I think Conor Benn is like, he's never going to be the best fighter in the world. He's just got just enough of the raw materials to do something with promotionally, and I think that what they've done with him is, I don't really think it's unique. Like, it's not a new phenomena, like to be built into something that you're not, to be profitable. Like, do you remember Seth Mitchell, the heavyweight from about 15, 20 years ago now?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure that Jonathan Banks carried him in that second fight.
100%. 100%.
So that's just a little obscure example of, they're just selling something. That's all it is. And they're hoping to capture the, the general sports fan. They're not bothered. They just want to sell as much as possible. And even though I don't think the card was as bad as perhaps, obviously Fury wasn't at his best. Conor Benn's, he's no great shakes, is he, realistically? But I think when you contrast a subpar performance on a part of the stars that are on the show with all the bombastic production value, I think it looks a little bit silly as well. Do you know what I mean? It really emphasizes how this is turning into more and more of a show rather than a meritocratic sporting endeavor, if you know what I mean.
Oh, 100%. It's, that's the problem is we know when we're going to see a good fight just because it's matched well. And we kind of at this point in time know when we're being fed nonsense or when something is just a basic ring return or it's for show or fighters who are built up. You see what the real quality is in fighters and you start to be able to catch levels. And the problem with a guy like a Conor Benn is you have to protect him so much on the way up. There's just, and you have to avoid all those guys like a Carson Jones who still kind of wander around these divisions. And most of these cats are, from, non-English speaking countries and they might have a few blemishes on their record, but they've been in with everything. They've seen orthodox and southpaws and straight punchers and looping punchers, fought boxers and brawlers, and they're not, and they have something to fight for. They realize that this opportunity and whatever they're getting paid the next time out, it's probably going to be double that. In a lot of these places, that's a shit ton of money. If all your expenses paid, if you can walk away with $50,000 American and go to basically any country that's in this hemisphere and south of the United States, you're fucking sound as a pound for a couple of fucking years.
Well, in Madagascar, this is a random off topic for a minute, but
it's a good movie.
I was watching this prison show and this guy, apparently he raped a woman and they were going to, but if he paid a $200 bribe, he got off. So I imagine $50,000 would have went pretty far in that country if you were a boxer, just thinking of that randomly. But if you don't mind, we could just shove Conor Benn up his ass and get to the better fights on this card. Cause I like Reactpour. I like that he beat a fat TKV's always fat, but I like how he beat a fat TKV. And I don't know why Reactpour was.
That was a really weird stoppage, though. That knockdown will look like a good, clean, sweeping right hand, probably behind the ear. I don't think it was behind the head. No. But then the referee just stopped it at a weird time.
He did because he wasn't really hurt. He was just not doing a lot. I guess you got to throw back, but I thought Reactpour was going to win that fight the whole time. TKV is just. I'm not even a British person. But it's kind of embarrassing to have him as your British heavyweight champion. With his tit hanging.
That's over now.
Hanging. Yeah. So, because
if
I was a British fan, I'd be like, damn, I don't want to tell anybody that he's my champion. But that was a good fight. And of course, Des said the Fraser Clark ended up being a pretty good fight too.
Oh yeah. I was entertained by that fight. I thought Clark did better than you might expect, considering his struggles in recent fights and such. But at the end of the day, he performed well. And Hooney is like kind of fringe world level would be my hunch. I mean, because he fucking won every second of that fight probably against Wardley until the hammer dropped on him. So Clark performed pretty well. And I'd have to say he's, got another couple years probably of pulling good paychecks in some domestic level fights. And again, Hooney's kind of that fringe world level guy. He's going to be in with some good fighters. I think, him and Reactpour could be interesting enough. Like anybody though, let me say this. We've seen enough of these two guys that if the fight is anything but this, it would be a fucking shocking thing. But a Coley versus Reactpour would basically just look like two guys comforting each other after their families died in a plane crash for 36 minutes. We all know it. So please don't.
Yeah. Well, he's got to beat Big Baby Miller first. So
who's going to beat? No, Miller's fighting fucking Lanier Perro, isn't he?
Oh, I thought he's fighting Coley. I got confused. But
I think got Yoka, isn't he?
Yeah, he's fighting Yoka. Yeah.
I think what Clark did last night was he did extend his career because he showed enough that he didn't look he looked different under Gallagher. He looked better under Gallagher. He took a shot better. He showed a little bit more to his game. So I think anything, Clark showed that he still could get in there, and I guess that's good for him. He showed that he still has something left of a career that I thought he had. I'll give him that.
I honestly, like, if I was to say anywhere that I would send Fraser Clark after this, James, like, why not a rematch with TKV? Fuck it. It was interesting. Like, I know the first fight wasn't great, but why not? One's mildly up, the other's mildly down, even coming off the loss for Clark for him. But it is what it is. Why not?
Yeah, that would work. I mean, I suppose that's kind of the area he's occupying at the moment. I feel like the timing for Fraser Clark's whole career has just been a little bit off. Like, he spent so long as an amateur. I think he was like the longest serving member of the GB team. He was there for like a decade or something. And then, he gets a bronze. Once he's past 30, he turns professional with Ben Shalom, probably doesn't have the impact he wanted. I mean, he had a hard-fought fight with Wardley, but then got absolutely splattered in the rematch. Very few things have fallen into place for him, to be honest. And I think he's probably 4 or 5 years further on in his life and career than he would have preferred to have been by this point. I think his performance he was just a little bit off the pace. Like, his rhythm was off. I think he tries hard, and I think in spots he can look impressive. And I think he looked in really good shape, and I like the advice that Gallagher was giving him in the corner. But ultimately, like, where does he go? I think it is British level, potentially European at a push if the right matchup presents itself. But yeah, I think he's found his ceiling right now, to be honest. So anyone at or around that level, I mean, if he stumbles into a Reactpour fight, I'd like to see that. I mean, Reactpour looked pretty good. I mean, his traps were a little bit they're a little bit distracting, to be honest with you. His physique was an absolute joke, having moved up from cruiserweight. So yeah, anything around that level, I'd be happy to see.
Yeah, but kind of might be the speed comparison between Tyson Fury and Makhmudov, though, because TKV was pretty flabby in there. He's never been a fit guy, but he was extra jiggly upon contact during that contest.
He looked, I think he fought quite panicked at times as well. Like, he was reaching out to clinch from really far out. And I think Reactpour's hand speed really bothered him. I mean, when he decided to pitch in that right hand with full force, it was pretty quick. And I think TKV was feeding it from early on. I didn't really mind the stoppage. It was a little bit like, I minded how hesitant the referee was. He looked like he was just caught in a little bit of a moment of indecision. But the stoppage itself, I felt like it halted 3 or 4 big right hands that were coming in. So even though it was potentially a touch early, I didn't really mind it too much.
I think TKV could tell early that Reactpour just had too much for him, that he was just tougher, stronger. And I think that's one reason why you could tell early in that fight. I think he kind of knew, like, shit, this guy's just got a little too much for me.
Yeah, physically he was just getting absolutely dominated at the end of the day. So it's just, maybe I do think it was probably just delaying the inevitable if he kept it going. But still, I just thought it was a bit early at the end of the day. Des, any thoughts on that stoppage?
No, I thought the stoppage was terrible.
There you go.
But I didn't know that I think that the stoppage was wrong. But I thought the body language of the referee and his dithering way of doing it was terrible. And I don't think I think we've got too many referees that haven't been around boxing long enough. Because a boxing referee, especially if you're going to go from, say, middle heavyweights down to welterweights, you've got to be able to impose yourself. You've got to be able to assert yourself. Like you've got two guys.
That's a true story.
You've got two guys throwing punches. You've got to know how to step between them with your chin down, your shoulder round, and you've got to have to look after yourself. And you've got to be a certain character. You've got to have a lot about you. You've got to fancy it. You've seen it in the past, didn't you? Referees used to fancy it. Like when two kids had to be pulled apart, it was stop boxing. It's simple.
Oh, Mills Lane would get his fucking ass in there. He didn't give a shit.
But that's because he was game. Like Mickey Van was game. Like some of these old referees used to be national champions in the amateurs. They had pro careers. They knew how fighters' feet worked, and they could work around it. And when they had to get in between two kids, they did it. What we're seeing now is guys that seem to be like a bit dithery. Like if anyone listening to this now, listen to me speak. Just have a minute. Go and look back later on at the way the referee tried to get between them two last night. He was no good to no one. He was a wet lettuce, and the stoppage represented him. So I didn't agree with the stoppage, but I think it was going to come anyway. But that's not the bloody point. We've got to get this right because British boxing's had a bad name for a long time for this type of crap. And we've got to get referees that know how to impose themselves and assert themselves and how to get the respect and the control of two pro fighters. And again, last night, we didn't get that from that referee. It was awful. But I thought, to agree with Justin, I thought that TKV felt Richard's power. And I think Richard's one of them guys. He can be outboxed. He can be pushed back. Billum Smith proved that, and so did Chris Massey in their fight at York Court. You can push him back, but you're going to have to look after yourself in that circle. You're going to have to know how to keep your chin down and keep moving that head, because when he lands, he's going to rock you. And I think that shot that put TKV over, it wasn't a perfect shot. It caught him right on the ear hole. It wasn't a perfect shot on the chops. But that's what Richard Riakporhe will do. He'll throw shots. They'll be a little bit ragged. They won't be technically brilliant, but they're heavy. And wherever they land, around the back of your head, around the throat, on your ear hole, they will have an effect. And I think that early doors, I think TKV felt, I'm not sure I fancy looking after myself in that space. So I think he went into a bit of a shell, and I think he tried to keep distance. But when you keep distance with a Richard Riakporhe, who in my opinion reminds me of Frank Bruner, but he's not quite as good. When you give Richard Riakporhe distance, now he becomes that good-looking boxer that can throw long shots, and now you're catching his shots at the end of the punch. So I think he probably felt, I don't fancy this, and how am I going to do this? And whereas the Fraser Clark fight, he managed to find a bit of a rhythm and fight his way back into it. Richard's a lot more heavier handed, and I think he got to him a lot earlier, and he's a lot more proactive than what Fraser is. So I think it was. I think Richard done everything right, and I think he was going to stop him, but I thought the referee made the right balls up of it. With Clark and Hooney, I thought that was the best fight of the night, and I thought Fraser Clark now in his career is all about redemption, and the way he will balance this, the way he'll square this circle is, I've had a split loss against Fabio, who's a world champion, and I've had a split loss against Justice Hooney, who was completely outboxing Fabio, and they're talking about Hooney winning a world title. So I ain't doing bad when you frame it like that. He's got to put the Fabio Wardley second fight out of his mind, because that can happen to anyone. I think he let himself down against TKV, and that probably prompted the moving trainer. What Fraser Clark's got to do now, he's got to get some back-to-back camps. He can't go missing for 12 months. He can't sit on the fence. He's got to get back in there. He's got to say to Joe Gallagher and Ben Shalom, get me another kid. Get me another 10-rounder. And I've got to go back-to-back in my camps. I've got to be living in Manchester. I've got to be in this gym every day. And I've got to get a synergy with my new trainer. Because what we saw last night from Fraser Clark was probably his second best performance of his career. His best one was when I thought he just nicked it in the first Wardley fight. But it was a very, very close one. And last night, all but
even
for the
that
last
being
3
a
rounds,
draw, I mean, that holds up well for him looking
it
back.
holds up well. Sorry, that was a draw, wasn't it, the first one? That was a draw, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I called it a split loss. Yes, so in his head, he's had a draw with Fabio and he's had a split loss against Hooney. So Fraser in his head now, they're going to square this. They're going to get in the gym tomorrow and say, look, let's work out where you are. You've got a draw against Fabio. You've got a split loss against Hooney. If I'm looking at it if I'm on the outside looking in, I'm thinking Fraser needs to believe in his fitness a bit. And that probably is going to come in the next 2 or 3 camps. Once Joe Gallagher's had him for a year, Fraser's fitness will go up. And once his fitness levels go up and he starts demonstrating that in sparring, I think Fraser will start letting his hands go a little bit more. I think the first 3 rounds, Fraser Clark was really comfortable last night. And he had a really good 4th round. But he'd done what everyone does that don't quite believe in their fitness or someone who's gassed out in a fight. He never put his foot on the pedal in the 5th round. He done it on a much lesser level. He done against Hooney what Klitschko did against AJ all them years ago. He just went back to being simple. And it allowed Hooney to go from recovery mode to being proactive again. And Hooney adjusted. Hooney got into a rhythm. You could argue that Hooney was stunned for a couple of rounds. And then at about round 6 or 7, Hooney got into a rhythm and he went and won the last 3 rounds. And that was the difference. So I think, Fraser, you have got redemption on the table now. You have performed well last night against a kid that we've seen do really well over here. And I think he's going to go on and make a bit of a noise in the heavyweight division. But Fraser needs some back-to-back camps. He needs to get a synergy with his new trainer. And he needs to get his fitness levels up. He can't go missing. But if he stays with it, if he keeps taking on fights like he did last night, or the David Adelaide, or the TKV return, or who's the kid in America that Bacoli beat? Gerard Anderson?
Yeah. Now he's working with Frank.
Well, if he does something like that, do you know what? I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going to put myself back in the picture. But I think one of the lads, I think it was Justin, said it. Last night has definitely not hurt Fraser Clark.
No, yeah, he wasn't really badly hurt or anything, and he competed with a good guy. He competed well with a good fighter. His stock went up in defeat. That does happen from time to time, and he will move forward. Justin, I know if anybody saw any of the rest of the undercard on there, it was you. So I will give you a chance to close it out if ye be the case.
I probably did, but you're going to have to remind me who they were. I
Oh,
watched
well.
a lot. I watched a ton of shit yesterday. I don't remember what the hell I watched. I watched.
I'll pull that up. Let's see here.
I think I did catch some of the prelims.
I think the easiest one to spell out of the bunch was Justice Hooney.
You had Elliot
Can I just have a couple of minutes? Sorry, Justin, mate. Can I just say a couple of things as well?
Take a lot of minutes if you want.
Part of this new rebranding of boxing, and part of this Milli Vanilli product we're getting fed is we now have to listen to this god awful commentary, aren't we? And the way the production team is. And Lennox Lewis is one of my favourite fighters of all time. I think he lives in any era. And if you ask me for my top 3 heavyweights, I think Lennox is somewhere in there behind Muhammad Ali and maybe Larry Holmes. But, I don't want to start an argument. I just think he's a really good fighter. But he clearly doesn't know much about British boxing or current day boxing, or he's just not really comfortable in front of the camera. And there's something about Carl Froch that makes me think he's trying too hard. He just tries too hard. And then we have these presenters that they just don't look boxing. And I totally understand where they're trying to take boxing. Eddie said this 20 years ago. We want boxing to sit alongside Formula One and Grand Slam tennis and Premier League football. It's, boxing is a very unique sport. and it has an organic feel, and it has its roots bedded in a certain style. You can still have big nights of boxing without taking all that away. You don't have to dress this up like some sort of high school prom. It can be done the old-fashioned way in today's market. That's all I'm saying. And I love the fact it's on Netflix, because I just like the fact that I can watch it in any room and everyone else can watch it, and people I know that don't have DAZN can get it on their telly or on their phone. It really suits. And I'd like to see more sport on Netflix personally, but I think their production and their delivery, I think it could be a little bit better.
Yeah. I wasn't particularly impressed with the commentary, but let's see here. Let's say, I think these were probably the ones, if there was anything you might have saw in there. You had Brian Gorham beating Eduardo Costa do Nascimento by stoppage, Felix Cash beating Liam O'Hare by stoppage, and in what I assume, I don't even know if it was on TV, how bizarre is this? Simon Zackenhuber lost to Paul August in a 6-round super middleweight contest, where Zackenhuber entered with the record of 28-0 and August with a record of 17-0, and it was a 6-rounder.
It was a weird
fucking what?
It was a weird fight. It's like Zackenhuber or whatever his name was. He was like a really good amateur. He had won like a bunch of European amateur stuff. So, and the Polish guy was also a really good amateur. I don't know how they put them together, and especially like on a YouTube prelim feed, 2 undefeated guys. It was a weird, because when I saw the first guy coming out, I thought, oh, it must be like, I didn't really look at the records right away. I thought, oh, the Polish guy must be the prospect they're building up. But then I looked at it, like, it was just I didn't mind it. It was kind of like, we're going to throw you both in there and see what the hell happens. I think the Polish guy won just Augustin or whatever his name was. I think he won just because of pressure. I think they both weren't that bad. They're both pretty decent. I don't know who the 28 guys were they beat to get that far, to get undefeated, because they're not.
I looked through the records, and no offense to journeymen, but other than a couple of names, absolutely nobody.
Exactly. These guys both had really good paper records. They had just built up records, and it was just a weird fight to have. I mean, it was, I don't know. It was, I didn't see that coming, that you would have 2 guys that were pretty good amateurs, not like Polish national champion. No offense to Marcin, but I don't know how much credit that is if you're just the Polish champion, but they both were like, had won some European stuff. And so they weren't just like novices. So I was surprised, but somebody had to lose, and that, I don't know, it was just weird. I just like, but I'm like you, when you look at it on paper, you're like, where did they get these guys? And they're fighting at like noon on a YouTube feed.
Yeah, that was bizarre. And if I was one of those fighters, I'd kind of feel like I got the raw end and not being in a 10-rounder on that.
It also shows too, though, you know how desperate German boxing is for stars, and how big German boxing can be if they have a star. So that Zackenhuber, there must be something wrong with him, because there's no way that Germany would let one of their studs be the first man out. He wasn't even the second guy to walk on a early prelim card. There's no way he's getting out on that card if they think he's going to be a star. There's no way. I'm telling you right now, no way that would happen. I don't care how bad German boxing's got. I don't care how bad the Sauerlands have got. He is not walking out. They keep those guys close to home and make them stars in Germany, because he's not a guy that's like from Albania. They made German. He is full German. So obviously that showed yesterday. That's why they let him go on there. He's got some ability, but they were not too fussed about letting him leave, obviously, because Germans, they are hurting right now. German boxing is it dead right now? It might be dead. They don't have anything going right now, and it's a shame, because when German boxing is humping, it's humping. I mean, they have some really big cards, and it's just
been a
dead
while
right now. Yeah, because they don't have the Hucks or the the Klitschko's weren't even German, and look how, but they just took over that country, and then like you had a lot of guys, it's dead right now. It's absolutely dying.
Yeah, and just as a final note, Paul August is a resident of the UK now. His birth name, though, is Paul Peter Augustinic.
Yeah, I didn't think Paul August was his given Polish. We could ask Marcin about that. There's not a guy named Paul August. So I didn't think that was his real name. That was his real name.
Oh man, yeah. Ajit Kabayel is you got to give Kabayel credit in there. I'm not going to argue that. I'm a big Kabayel fan.
I keep forgetting that he's German because it's almost like he's Turkish, but he was born there. I always keep forgetting that he is German. I always forget that
and he's Kurdish and
because they take over so they just bring you in and make you German. He always just seemed like one of those guys who are like, well, he's not really German, but we're going to say he is.
Yeah, like I don't think Marco Hook was
he
German
wasn't
by birth. I don't think that Arthur Abraham
he wasn't.
I don't think what's his fucking name?
The guy who fought De La Hoya wasn't German.
Yeah, Felix Sturm wasn't.
That
wasn't close to his real name.
No, they changed that. Like Urkal, one of their other great fighters, was not German. Like they will just bring you. Klitschko's perfect example. They just kind of like, well, we know they're Ukrainian, but we're not really going to discuss that because they're going to fight every fight here.
Yeah,
so they love doing that.
Yeah, well, fortunately, that world is dead, but that's another discussion for a different podcast. I'll tell you what made me sad, even though I knew I should have bet on it happening. I fucking knew it, and I didn't do it, and I'm a dumbass. But Tenshin Nasukawa beat Juan Francisco Estrada. And not only did he beat him, he stopped him. I did not see this fight. I refused to make myself watch this fight as a big Estrada fan. That I hate to see him go out that way. But Justin, you have no soul. I assume you watched it.
Oh, I definitely watched it. I'm like you. I love Chocolatito, but some reason I liked Estrada better. I don't know why I did. I just did. But it always got me though why nobody come out to the Alice in Chains song when they fought Estrada.
Which
you
one?
know the Stuff the Rooster.
Oh yeah.
Because that's the whole point. You're trying to snuff him.
Yeah.
Hey, that's just my little thing. I can't wonder why. No, I would have come out to that if I was fighting him. But I think about random shit like that more than most people because I just do. Stupid shit comes to my head, but
it's all good.
It made you feel. I wouldn't say sad. It just kind of made you feel like fuck, man, because Estrada showed he was Estrada here and there. You know what I'm trying to say? Like you saw the old Estrada like in pieces, but then you just realized he's old as shit and he is well past it. So he had a couple little patches where you saw what he could do, but he just couldn't do enough of it. That's the best way to put it. And he just didn't answer the bell for the round. He said he was like holding his arm or he was getting, I hate to say this word when it comes to Estrada, he bailed. He was getting really lit up about a round and a half going into that stoppage and he couldn't change it. Like he just couldn't turn it around. He couldn't keep him off of him. So he was going to go down. That was coming. There's no doubt about it. He was taking too many shots, but he took a vicious freaking headbutt. And I don't know. You said you didn't watch the card, but there was 2 headbutt fights. I mean,
I did watch the Akatsugi fight, but we'll get to that.
And then did you see the Guevara headbutt too?
No, I see that there's a no contest.
Yeah,
boy moving on up fast.
I like the look of the 2-boy for the first how long has it lasted? A minute. Guevara took a brutal headbutt. They had to put him on a stretcher.
Jesus.
Because of the headbutt. Like he could not stand up. He could not get to his feet. He was just rolling around and he laid there. So they were breaking out like the neck brace because he took such a brutal headbutt. The headbutt almost knocked him out. Like he was laying there like he couldn't move. He almost got knocked out by the headbutt. That is one of the worst headbutts. And the funny thing was it didn't even cut him. It just destroyed him. That headbutt did. And the Japanese guy was like, 2-boy was like, oh shit, he knew it. He could tell. He was like, oh shit, I knocked the crap out of it with my head. So that's why it was a no contest because I think the fight only lasted like 2 minutes and Guevara had to get stretchered off. That was a ridiculous headbutt. And then you said that, you saw the Akinsugi, which I thought that was a good fight. Akatsugi kind of gave that up late in the second half. I thought he was winning that early, but the guy he was fighting had a pretty weird nickname. He called himself Mr. Bones. I don't know what the hell, because I guess he was skinny as hell. He looked like a skeleton. I guess that's why he called himself Mr. Bones. But that was another good Japanese card, except for but you're right, though. They are really pushing that Tsuboi, because Guevara is a former world champion who still has a little bit left. And that was the Tsuboi guy's only third fight. So they are definitely thinking he's got world champion written all over him. But it was another good card.
Oh man, I watched that. I just saw that headbutt. Like he was running. He was like running at him basically at full speed, and then boy moved up. That was nasty. I mean, that was like taking a right hand to the
I told
chin.
you, I've never seen the neck brace come out for the neck brace and stretcher come out for a headbutt. So they'll probably, I would say, we'll probably see that fight again. If, as long as he doesn't have like a bad concussion, which he probably does. You could if Guevara can clear some medical stuff, they could get that fight out in a month or two. So they'll probably rematch that one again. But I like Atkins. I like Akatsugi. I thought that was a really close fight. It was a majority decision. I kind of thought he gave it away a little bit late. But yeah, Estrada, it just was. I think you called it last week. He should never have been in that fight. He was a younger guy, fresher. Estrada hadn't fought. And Estrada did one of his did what he always does. I hadn't fought in like 2 years, and I'm gonna come out here and fight in a big fight, which is what he always did. He never fought regularly, which I think that hurt him being a superstar. Is that he'd never stayed consistent. He just never did. But yeah, he kind of bailed, which was not really sad, but he bailed. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, it happens, and the Akatsugi fight was a good watch. I added a draw, as did one of the judges, and it's his opponent, Jose Miguel Calderon Cervantes, goes by Calderon. He has an interesting little resume on there. He's got a fair bit of junk in there, but amidst it all, he has a majority decision win over Alexandro Santiago, who I think beat Donaire. Who did? Yeah, maybe it was Donaire that he beat. Yeah, he had a win over Donaire. I think I was at that card. I think that was on Crawford versus Spence for some reason. Yes, it was. And then he had a technical decision, majority decision loss to Rico Masuda, who was the guy who just ended Donaire's career. So interesting little full circle kind of stuff there. But so this guy is not without some opponents and some ability in the ring there. So it was an interesting step up for Akatsugi going over there, working with Tekken, even though ProBox was able to get the rights just to air this fight, and it was a good scrap. For anybody who has a chance, you can just go YouTube, ProBox. And it was a really interesting strap. Calderon is a massive bantamweight. I mean, he is freaking massive. The guy is 5'9" with like a 5'9" with a 73-inch reach. I mean, that for that weight, that's freaking huge. And he knows how to hold that distance pretty damn well. So interesting fighter. And I would watch a rematch of that. And I hope Akatsugi's stock doesn't go down with that fight, but we'll see how he gets treated. Hopefully the Tekken folks don't kick him off the roster for that one. We shall see, though. We shall see. What else do another of the ProBox fights that I saw? I think I only watched main events. I watched. Let's see here. I watched Hebert Conceição. I'm trying to think who he fought. Do you remember who he fought off the top of your head? Was Gonzalez last name?
Yeah, he fought that Johan Gonzalez guy who's been in he's kind of like a upper level journeyman type guy. That was a good fight because he got laid out. That Conceição guy.
That was a clean right hand. Yeah, like third round.
I watched that main event. I watched I guess the fight of the weekend on ProBox was the Flemings Jr. versus that the Cuban Johan Nunez. I think his name's like Johan Nunez. it was the co-main for the Milnicki last night, and they both got knocked down hard.
Oh, right
I
on.
didn't-
I'll have to watch that one.
I didn't think Flemings was going to get up, and then he got up and actually won the fight. He actually They were both undefeated. I think one was like 14-0 with 10 knockouts. The other guy was like 18-0 with like 14 knockouts. So I think they both legitimately can hit. And yeah, Flemings is from New Jersey, so he had a lot of people there for him, and that was a good win because he got hurt. I mean, he got nailed, and he's lucky to get to the round, and then he actually started putting it on. It's just another of these Cuban guys that I've never heard of. Nobody really would have. They've kept him like in the background, building his career up. Because I don't remember him seeing him on ProBox before. I don't even remember seeing him on there.
There's been so many fights on those cards, man. I have no idea.
Yeah, he come out of nowhere when I saw his name announced. I was like, what? I didn't really recognize this 14-0 Cuban with 10 knockouts. But that was a good fight. Milnicki is it's weird. He is like Mr. Fundamental. He could do everything you're supposed to do as a boxer. He just doesn't have it. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, he just doesn't have that.
You could be
extra
right.
gear.
I think he's getting better, and he's
the power's a problem though. He just does not have. It's like you look at him, you're like, okay, this is one of these guys that looks great in the gym. He has all the shots. He knows what he's doing. He's got a pretty good ring IQ. He just doesn't have it. And I don't know what it is for him, but he just doesn't have it. You can tell he's missing a little bit of power, but he doesn't have that extra gear. He never really wants to go for it. He doesn't have that killer instinct because last night he dominated that whole fight. He pretty much dominated from round one to the end versus a guy who you said last week hadn't fought anybody. Milnicki should have. There's probably like 5 or 6 opponents that he legitimately should have finished, and he went the distance with. I think it seems like that's just going to keep him from doing anything ever big.
Yeah, and I mean, he should have that win over Coyle, and I think that got turned to a no contest. I think Coyle ended up testing positive for something.
Yeah,
unless I'm thinking of something else. But he's one of those guys, like, and I think he's around middleweight. In such a devoid middleweight division, he could find himself in a title fight. I mean, he'd probably lose it, as you've kind of alluded to.
I mean, but the middleweight's so weak. If he got the right opponent, he could do enough to win. I mean, it would have to be like the perfect opponent. I would not be stunned if he stole one. I mean, I hate to put it that way, but I would not be surprised if look how many guys over the years since we started watching boxing that have stolen titles, in my opinion, that were just put in a situation that they should never been in versus guys that probably shouldn't have been there either. And they become world champions by default. So that I wouldn't be stunned if that happened.
Just one of those things that could occur.
Yeah. And fighting like the number 12th rated guy from like Madagascar. I'll put that country out again. I mean, you never know that shit could happen.
So was there anything else I missed? I'm trying to think if there was a British card on Friday or something that was not coming to mind.
I know ProBox did Friday. I know we had the Asian card.
Yeah.
We had another ProBox. We had the Fury card. I don't remember. I didn't really watch much of the Zuffa shit from last Sunday because it just.
I didn't either. I haven't even got around to it.
I glanced. I kind of skimmed through it, but it takes away from me when they're fighting that little bitty ass wherever they're fighting at, and it's just all that there's no.
So yeah, like everybody, like invite 10 of your friends.
Yeah, it's like there's no atmosphere, there's no soul behind that, and I can't get into it. It's so regimented. It's like it's just too much for me. I can't get into that. I tried to watch a little bit, but I didn't really give a shit about any of the guys. Most of the card were like Zuffa prospects. Now, how in the hell do they have prospects when they just started like 2 weeks ago? But there was like Zuffa prospects, or basically guys they just stole from other people, but.
Mm-hmm.
And so none of them are that great. It just wasn't that interesting.
It was like you talk about a guy who's probably regretting his life choices right now. I'd have to say it's Jaya Pataya. Like God, that was a terrible setting for a fight.
Stupid idea to go to because he went from fighting in front of a fired up crowd in his home country to fighting in front of like 19 people in like a garage. I mean, that it's like they better be paying him extremely well to drop that low as far as, and I don't blame him. I don't even know how you get excited for a fight when you're like, hey, you're going to come out here fight in front of about 26, maybe 29 people. Everything's going to look the exact same. There's no heart. There's nothing to this. You got to wear the little Zuffa hat, and you got to hold our stupid little belt. And it just looks like a horrible, miserable time to me.
It does look like a horrible, miserable time.
That's what I miss.
Don't
That's what I missed the ESPN Tuesday and Friday night fights when they would fight like in downtown Kansas City, and they'd have like the cows walking by and shit. I don't know if everybody remembers that. They did.
Yeah.
Like, it was like somebody was steer week one time, and then you had like the bulls like fenced up on the other side of the ring. It was stupid, but it was also like it was something. It was kind of cool. It was kind of cool. You know what? There was more people for that than it was the stupid ass. There was more people in Kansas City that night in downtown watching boxing, Clifford Etienne, that actually showed up to the damn Times Square boxing card. And it was more entertaining. I'll put it that way. It was Call of the Wild. It was Clifford Etienne versus Francois Botha. Call of the Wild.
Clifford Etienne ended up going to prison for murder, I think.
Yeah, well, it was the Black Rhino versus the White Buffalo. So a little race card there too. South Africa had a South Africa connection too with both of South Africa, but he did a lot down there. So anyway, we can get into that's another whatever. We're not getting into that. We had enough politics going on this week anyway. We're not going to add that shit in here right now, for God's sakes. We're not getting into that.
Yeah. Too many adventures for this guy. But yeah, it was a week of boxing, and we're gonna do a fair bit of previews here. Let's see here, James. Is there anything that you saw that we're missing on that one? I don't know how engaged you were this weekend either. If it was just the Fury card, or if you caught any of this nonsense we're discussing.
No, it was just the Fury card for me, mate.
Okay. Well, we'll all have an opinion on things that are ahead. Let's see here. What do we got? Yeah, we'll start with that one. I think that's...
Hold on. Real quick. Sorry to interrupt you. I did see some new boxing that come out. You know, we've got bare knuckle. We've got MMA shit. Now they got... Have you heard of the dirty boxing?
I think I've seen that, and it's like where you can still punch them when they're on the ground.
Yeah, it's boxing rules with MMA gloves. That's how it works. So if a guy's on his knee, you can just haul off and uppercut the shit out of him. But that's what they did. They took MMA gloves, so almost bare knuckle, in a boxing ring with boxing rules, but you could do dirty shit. That's why it's called dirty boxing. I watched about 30 seconds. I'm not watching that. You know, you had like Ron the Berserker Johnson, or like all these dumbass fucking names to make them look tougher than they are. You know, like the Suicide King or some stupid shit the guy's name was. Yeah, I'm not watching any of that crap. All steroided off their freaking minds. Every one of them was so roided up. I think that's probably roid rage while they're fighting with, but it was so stupid. Unless anybody wants to check that out, they can. I don't know.
Hey, it's somebody's cup of tea, and we wish them the best.
Oh, allegedly steroids. Allegedly.
Yeah. There's going to be a card on Friday on ESPN stateside. It's an MVP card. Going to have a handful of male fighters on there, but it's going to be headlined by the ladies. Going in there with some names that I know. Jamal Harvey is lightweight. He's going on there against Leandro Damian Medina. Natalie Dove, I think she's a reasonably developing flyweight, is in there. Crystal Rosado Ortiz, who is one of Amanda Serrano's fighters, is in there in an 8-rounder. The dudes we got on there, we got Alex Vargas and Ryan O'Rourke. They're junior welterweights. Elon De Jesus versus Conor Attaway at junior featherweight. And then we're going to have in women's action, they're going to have Shadeja Green and Lanny Daniels for Green's IBF and WBO women's super middleweight titles. That one could be dreadful. We'll see if Green has found her punching range again. And Baumgardner is going in there and defending her IBF, WBO, and WBA titles against Bomi Ray Shin. who has 4 names and only has slightly more letters in them than my first name. So good for her on that account. And that one's going to be over 12 rounds. Obviously, the WBC doesn't want any part of that, so they do not sanction her fights. Obviously, I know Justin doesn't have anything to say about that. James, any thoughts on Alycia Baumgardner? If Rob were here, I know he would have something to say. God love him.
I'm just as much of a fan of Baumgardner as Rob is, to be honest. But I've never heard of the opponent, and I don't know if it's because has she fallen out of favour? Is she out of the loop promotionally? Because I never hear about her fights until the last moment.
No, she's with MVP now, so she should be getting moved along at this point in time.
Is she any good?
Her and Dubois. Oh, are we talking about Bomi Ray Shin?
Yeah, is she any good?
I don't know if I've ever seen her fight. Let me go back in her box record.
Yeah, she's got a pretty good jab. She's
shut the fuck up.
Hey, I looked up Natalie Dove, and in my opinion, she's very developed.
Okay.
So just if anybody wants to look it up, they can.
Bomi Ray Shin, bit of a puncher. She has 10 stoppages, 3 losses. She lost to Caroline Dubois early last year by majority. Yeah, she gave Dubois fits. That's right. She gave Dubois fits in that fight. She lost a split decision to Delphine Persoon in 2023. Persoon, very good fighter, and she lost to the debuting Thailand Tran. And the thing, though, with some of these countries is, and that was her only fight. She might have been she says boxing amateur record, 4-1. She might be one of those gals who has a really deep Muay Thai background. So that's interesting. But that was very early in her career. So our gal Bomi Ray Shin from Seoul, South Korea, she could let's just say if Baumgardner cleans her clock, it'll look well on her.
I'll be honest with you.
Women's boxing.
I'll be honest with you. For the women's boxing, that's a pretty good record.
It is.
For that level, that's pretty good level of competition. You'd have to give her that.
It is. Yep. Good on Bomi Ray Shin. I don't know why I like saying that so much. Anyhow, let's see here. This card could be an all right one from Glasgow. Got a few 12 rounders, 10 rounders on there. We'll just focus on the 10 and up on there because that will make life easy. Although Alex Arthur Jr. is in there in a 6th rounder, so that's kind of cool. Aston Brown, Sam Gilly, 10 rounds at middleweight. Royston Barney Smith versus Conor McIntosh, 12 rounds, junior lightweight. Imagine some sort of a British strap or otherwise is on the line there. Dylan Arbuckle versus Nico Lafarge, 12 rounds, junior featherweight. Again, probably some sort of a British domestic strap on the line. And then a rematch of a draw from last year, Nathaniel Collins and Cristobal Lorente. Justin, do you remember that fight? Well, they're doing it again.
Well, it's sad to say I do remember that fight.
Yeah.
And the only name I recognize all the names, but I think I've seen Barney Smith the most.
Yes.
He's been around. I think he's been around for a while now.
Just because he's got such a goofy fucking name.
That's
can't help but remember that you've seen him.
That is why, yes, his name is something that stands out. I do remember the Collins fight. I think I remember it was decent, but God knows we watched so much boxing. I remember it being decent, I think, but that is it's not a bad card, honestly. It's not. I'll end up watching. I always do, but it's a decent, well matched card, and that's hell. Fuck. Nowadays, we don't have to have superstar. We don't have to have the show. I don't have to have people dancing and bringing out their own personal band and doing all this other stupid shit. Or coming out to Evanescence like Fury did, which is ridiculous choice for
I hate that fucking song.
God, that song was so overplayed in this country that it makes me sick to hear it. Even though
like the song when it was popular.
Even though she's semi-hot. I wouldn't put her in the hot.
Girl.
Yes. Hey, little known fact, Evanescence is a religious rock band. Just for people listening. They are a religious rock band. Anyway, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about that for, but
so she wanted Jesus to wake her up inside.
Yes, exactly. That is exactly what happened. But I'll watch because all we have to have is just well matched cards. They don't have to have any extra. I've got to the point now where I'd rather watch guys fight in the small hard cards with atmosphere than some of these big shit. I just rather would. Hey, let's get the juice 50-50 on since he's going.
Fucking A. Dude, party on, man. That's very cool. I hope you enjoy yourself at that card. Should be a good show. The first fight, I swear I remember that one, and it was a good scrap. Other than just being a draw, I think they're doing it again because it's entertaining. Any memories for you on that one, James, or was that one during busy times?
Nah, none for me. To be honest with you, I feel like I'm just all at sea, man. Even the Fury fight kind of snuck up on me. I don't know if it's getting older or being more busy. I just feel like I'm, on the periphery lately. To be honest.
You have other priorities, man. You're doing what you got to do.
Yeah, deal. Barging up the house, man. That's my priority at the moment.
Fucking A. So I think there must be a one of those conventions going on in Kyrgyzstan because they have a series of fights over a small number of days. They got Adrian Maximilian Robledo versus Kayonosuke Kameda. I assume related, a part of the Kameda family. I don't think that was one of the ones I remember, though. And that's on the 17th. Then on the 18th, they have Luis Neri versus Jean-Riel Casemiro, which I actually think could be a pretty good fight. And then David Jimenez is fighting Yumo Asano with his interim WBA belt. Well, there you go. It's probably a WBA convention, if anything, on there. So you probably just catch that on like the WBA's YouTube or some shit like that.
I imagine it'll be on there. I like Jimenez, so I'll watch that fight.
He's a good fighter.
He's another one of these guys I root for because he's from a non-boxing country.
Costa Rica. From? He's
Costa Rica. Yeah, non-box. They don't produce. So I always root for the guys that are from. I guess you would call them what, the non-traditional.
Yeah, him. I think him, Brian Castano, and the woman fighter I saw fight, Alycia Estrada. Why can't I remember her name?
Yeah, they're always like I always root for those. Always root for them because it's like they have more of an uphill battle than everybody else does because boxing is just not happening. Really, where they're from.
Yocosta Valle. There you go. It took me a minute. But also on the 18th, from Liverpool, we were supposed to get fucking Callum Smith against David Morrell, but no, got to get injured. Can't fucking have that fight. And no, Ben Whittaker can't move up into the main event and put his balls on the table. So instead, it's Ben Whittaker and Brian, I think, again, Nahal Suarez. His first name is spelled Braian. I don't know what to do when there's 3 consecutive vowels, people. It fucking fucks me up.
Brian.
Yeah, maybe Brian. But they're going to be going at the McGrail brothers are on there. Peter against Sakari Kani Mancia probably. That's going in at 122 pounds. Joe McGrail also fighting at 122 pounds against Aaron Hayden. Maybe they can just punch each other one day. Leo Atang is on there and Molly McCann as well. That's not a bad card, James. I kind of like that one a little bit. Well, actually, I lied. It's a shit card. I'm sorry. What was I thinking?
Well, I didn't realize that the Smith Morrell fight was off, to be honest with you. And I think it would actually be a little bit too much to expect Whittaker to take his place. I seen a quote from Morrell the other day saying that Morrell's younger than Whittaker. Is that true? I didn't look it up, but he said
I think he immigrated here quicker than most.
Yeah, they talk about Whittaker like he's a young fighter and how he's still developing. But if Morrell's actually younger, although he's performed at a much higher level, amateur and pro. So is it that they don't want Whittaker anywhere near a light heavyweight of that caliber just yet, which is quite worrying, really.
He's got a ceiling, man. I mean, the fact, he dominated the rematch, but he found a way out against Lee and Cameron in that first fight.
But you can't blame Whittaker for that, though. Late minute versus Morrell, that was not a bit. I don't blame him at all for not taking a late minute step up versus Morrell. That's just, I think Morrell would knock him out, and he's not ready for that. I don't think he'll ever be ready for Morrell.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
There's no way he's
parallels. Sorry, are there parallels to be drawn between Whittaker and Conor Benn in that way? Do you know what I mean?
I think Whittaker's better than Conor Benn in comparison.
He's more talented than Ben is.
But where is his ceiling? Because as you rightly pointed out, he showed examples of where he might be deficient. If it gets a little bit tough in there for him, he's clearly got speed and skills, but if you can't put a dent in opponents at the top level, you're going to have problems, man. I wonder how much they'll protect him, you know.
His only route to a title would be like a joint retirement simultaneously of Bivol and Beterbiev, and just let all the fucking belts go loose. That's his only route to any title at 175. That's like, he's probably athletic enough that if he just minds his P's and Q's in the ring, he can probably win a European title. But when he really steps up, unless it's against just like they swing every fucking favor they can to get the right vacant title fight for him, that's his only route.
And I think that's what's going to happen. I got a feeling they're going to find the right opponent in a division, like you said, that's cleared out. So you're going to have so many guys that maybe just the year before that wouldn't even get a title shot, and he's going to come in there and get one of those guys. That's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I have no problem
with welterweight after Crawford left. It was just like, well,
yeah,
there's nobody here now.
Somebody's got to have a title until Zuffa comes in. You got to get it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, because Smith would have beat Whittaker and Morrell would have beat Whittaker, so there's no reason for him. Yeah, he's not even close to those guys right now.
I was surprised, honestly, that Smith versus Morrell was 50-50.
Smith, he still showed his last few fights.
Smith pulls out victories at the weirdest time.
Yeah, he still has something left. So I don't think it was 50-50, but it was closer than. I wouldn't put it this way. I would not have been stunned if Smith beat him. I would not have been like, oh my God, that's a massive upset at all if Smith had beat him. But well, fuck it, we're not going to see it now anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I'll tell you, like going back to Morrell and considering you got to win, it sucks he's with Zuffa, because I think honestly, like after this fight, the next step up to see like if he has what it takes for a guy like Whittaker would have been Kalajdzic. I think Hot Rod would have been a fantastic fight to see where Whittaker is out after this one. But
he's not ready. He's not ready for that either, I don't think.
There you go.
I think Kalajdzic is a way better fighter than Cameron. Way better. And look what problems Cameron gave him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
More skilled, yet more rugged. Not combination. Yeah.
He would make that fight ugly as hell for Whittaker. If Whittaker beat Hot Rod, then you could legitimately say, okay, Whittaker has got more than we thought he did, but they're not even come close to making that fight. That's a no money, lose top fight for them. That there's no way they're making that ever. Especially the way he beat Gvozdyk just recently. They're not even going to come close to put Whittaker in versus Hot Rod.
That was a great win. That was like, he pulled that out of his pocket.
And I love Gvozdyk, but Gvozdyk had to finish him early because he just couldn't do it. Anyway, we talked about that. But yeah, all right, you're right. Whittaker I just got a gut feeling he's going to sneak. He's going to sneak a title. It's going to happen. He's good enough. They're going to find the right guy, and he's going to get it.
Yeah, you might be right. I don't know, James. Any final thoughts on this card there?
No, that's all for me. I've not seen too much of the rest of them. I know the McGrails a little bit, but couldn't really add anything to the conversation, to be honest.
And I don't know much about their opponents, to be honest with you. I think Atang will be interesting as we see him develop. I think that's a greater curiosity of anything. Let's see here. Then we're going to go over, and then I'm going to scan over and see what might be over on the other ones, because the ESPN schedule is usually not very complete. So I'm sorry if I'm missing your favorite domestic fight. But on the 25th in Las Vegas, this is kind of an interesting one, not because I think either of these guys is ever going to be title worthy, but just because I don't know what one either guy really has. And I just think style-wise it could match. And that's Gerald Miller against Lanier Perro. I don't know why, but I think it's going to be a good fight. I just get this weird feeling that as far as styles make fights go, I think this one is going to entertain. Justin, am I crazy?
No, you're not crazy. It's going to be entertaining.
All right.
You're going to see what kind of hair Miller has. That'll be entertaining if he's going to come with he can't, I mean, I guess at this point you might as well wear the fake hair. It's already out there. Nobody cares. So that'll be interesting, but Perro's okay. He's decent. And Miller has shown that he's not god awful. That he's got a little bit about him. He's tough. He's tough as hell. I mean, you're not gonna. It's hard to beat him. Miller has shown that you have to have something about you to beat him. You're not because no matter how fat he is, no matter what he does, he comes to fight.
He'll fight you till the hair comes off his fucking
Yeah,
head.
exactly. He's got a really good chin. He's rugged. So Perro, this is probably the toughest guy Perro has fought. So I would not be stunned if Miller somehow won this fight. I still think Perro will get it, but you got to think Perro, this is a big step up for him. And Miller's got nothing to lose. I mean, he don't really give a shit what happens, honestly. So this fight's going to be more interesting than people think it is because you got two heavyweights, one that's not going to quit, and the other one is getting his first real test because Perro is going to have legit power to keep Miller off of him, not just okay power. And he's going to have to have a lot to his game because we know how Miller is. Hate him, love him, or what, he's going to put his head down and he's coming at you. So we'll see. That it's more interesting. Like I agree with you. I think it's going to be an interesting, decent fight, probably.
Yeah, it'll be all right. I think. The fat guy has his moments. You know,
he does have a lot of fat moments. He does. It makes you think if he actually ever took boxing serious that he'd probably be. I mean, he's decent now as a fat guy who doesn't take it that serious. But whatever, he'll probably pop for 55 drugs after the fight anyway.
I just wonder what he's going to weigh in at. Over or under 300 pounds? Probably over.
I mean, you could put money on like FanDuel that Miller will pop again one more time for his career's over with. Probably.
Quite likely. It
highly likely. Highly likely.
You just don't know what it might be for. It could be anything.
I mean, look what the roids have already done to him. They made his hair fall out. They've I will say this.
Suffering from roid rage, still in trucks, shit.
I will say this. Miller did the exact opposite of Ben. You remember Miller didn't really go on a rampage about that he was clean and he got screwed. He just kind of like, well, no, he just took it. And people, I wouldn't say they had respect for him, but they were like, well, we all know it anyway. So big, you move on from that when the guy doesn't argue with it that much. It's the guys that argue are the ones that look so stupid people hate.
Yeah, that's refreshing, don't you think? When someone just pops to it and just says, "Yeah, well, fair enough."
I mean, how are you going to fight 19 different? You can't say. I mean, you can't come out and say, "Oh, if you had one, you could fight." But when you've got every single one in your system, you're not getting out of that. You got to take it. There's no way you could twist 27 different drugs or whatever it was. You just got to take that. But yeah, that was me.
Conor Ben would compile the dossier, no problem, man.
Yeah, I don't know how Conor Ben would get out of that many. He would try though, but Miller just like, I can't get away with that many drugs.
There's only so many drugs to go around. That's why not all of them are on it. Just most.
Yeah.
And then we'll close it out. Another heavyweight fight from Paris, France. Our boy Tony Yoka taking on Lawrence Okoli. We'll see how this goes for Tony. This is a good test for him to see if he's getting his in-ring confidence, if he's willing to go forward, and has been kind of taking these things that Don Charles has been trying to hammer into heart. Because Okoli is he's a physical fighter, and he's gonna have to find ways to try to land hard but also get behind that stick and keep Okoli from just getting inside and just mugging him and making it a really ugly fight, which is highly likely anytime Okoli is in the ring. So we'll see if it's going to be fun or if it's going to be not fun.
It's going to be not. Let's put it this way: it's going to be not fun. Okoli, there's no way Okoli could be in an entertaining type fight because that's just not him. I am 50-50 on this one. You would think you would like to see Yoka win just because his style plays better. Like it's more entertaining. I think you could put him in bigger fights than you can Okoli. So for that point of it, but Okolie is just a rugged dude. It's going to be. I really don't know which way to go on this one yet. I lean Okolie to make it ugly and win some kind of weird. Just make it ugly and win the fight. That's just where I'm leaning.
Whoever dictates what kind of fight it is who wins the fight.
That's what I'm saying. I think Okolie is going to get his way because of the way he fights. That's why I think it's going to be an ugly Okolie win, because it's hard to fight him, and Yoka is going to have to be on the stick the whole time. He's going to have to move. He's going to have to just be on it the whole time, because Okolie, we know what he is. It can't be a good fight. It cannot be, just because, and nothing Yoka could do, I think, to try to make it entertaining unless he knocks him out quick. Which Okolie, Billum Smith, wasn't it Billum Smith that hurt him or was getting him pretty good? Wasn't that Okolie Billum Smith, wasn't it?
Or was it React? I'm trying to remember. Whatever it is, William Smith dropped him a couple of times.
Yes, I think Billum Smith beat Reactport and Okolie, didn't he? God, I can't remember now. I'm getting confused with the names of all these guys, but
it could have been.
Anyway, it's in France. We'll see. We'll see. I think for boxing's sake, Yoka brings more to the table for future fights than Okolie does, at least. At least Okolie loses, we might not have to see his style anymore. I mean, that's the best way I could put it.
Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, Coley lost to CBS.
Yeah.
And so did Richard Reactpor. Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
That.
So if Smith can hurt him, there's no reason Yoka couldn't.
Speaking of CBS, he's been out of the ring for almost a calendar year now.
That guy needed a break.
Maybe.
His fights are too hard to fight as much as he was. He just has all his fights are brutal. Every one of them are like balls to the wall type stuff. He probably needed a break.
Yeah, well, hopefully he's enjoying it. We'll see where he goes. But yeah, let's go check. Like I said, let's go check the other schedules here and just see if there's something that we might be missing of the bunch.
There's no more women's card, is there? We need to get them discussed before we leave. If you've got any more to talk about.
I have no idea who these people are, but apparently they're good enough to be on payperview.com, Triller, Fubo Sports. Jonathan Mansour and William King. I have no idea.
You know who Jonathan Mansour is? He's that bald heavyweight.
Are you sure you're not thinking of Amir Mansour?
Oh, maybe you're right. And it was Mansour. That's right. That's right. Remember, he said it was Amir Mansour and not Mansour. I remember that. When I first saw that guy's name, I was like, is that the bald heavyweight Mansour? Because he's one of those guys that kept changing his pronunciation. So maybe it is a different guy. It probably is it. I must have been thinking Amir Mansour. God, that guy, he shouldn't be fighting if it is him.
No, it is not. So
he's got to be in his early 50s. Remember, he was like fighting when he was like 46. So I hope it ain't him.
Yeah. Well, he spent like fucking 15 years in prison or some shit like that. That's why he had an odd boxing career. Then Jason Maloney and Andre Donovan are fighting in Australia. Hooray for them! We wish them all of the best. That's going to be on Thursday, the 23rd. And see if there's a. I might have to watch the Spanish channel for this one on Saturday, the 25th. Going to have Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. against John Caicedo. Let's check out John Caicedo's record here.
God, I didn't even hear this.
Didn't he get deported?
Yeah. He did get deported. You are correct.
I didn't even know Chavez Jr. was still fighting. I definitely didn't even see that fight coming up.
Is he back in the States or is he fighting south of the border? What's going on?
No, this is from Mexico.
Nice.
Yeah, they're not letting him back in. That's done. He's not coming back.
No, they accused him of being involved with the Sinaloa drug cartel.
Yeah, he's not coming back.
Accusations that may or may not be true.
Allegedly involved.
Great bunch of lads.
Better at business than I am. So Julio is 40 years old now. Junior is officially 40, and after he lost to Jake Paul, he fought again at cruiserweight and beat the 10-1-1 Angel Julian Sacco, and now he's fighting the 13-1 John Caicedo, who is let's see here, only has 5 knockouts. Oh man, Justin, you got to pull up a picture of this guy. What a strange looking fellow. He's from Colombia. In his most recent fight was the lone loss of his career, where he lost to homeboy of Steve, Avni Yildirim, and that was at light heavyweight. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah. John is spelled JHONCAICEDO. I highly recommend anybody and everybody to look at his picture. He kind of looks like somebody who you wouldn't want to run into a bar if
That's
you're
like
a
a gay.
female.
That's like a gay grinder dating website profile picture. That's exactly what it looks like he's in the shower or some shit.
That exactly what it looks like. Or...
Well, Rob, you came in at a perfect time. I milked
Yo, obviously.
I could find over 2 weeks. So why don't you give me your rundown of what you saw over the weekend and how disappointed you are at the state of boxing because of it?
Right. Well, let me give you the context. So I couldn't tell you who the winner was between Justice Hooney and Fraser Clark because I didn't see it and I didn't check for the result, and I don't know who won between Jamie TKV and Richard Riakporhe either because I didn't give a fuck and I didn't check for the result either. So I couldn't tell you anything about those two fights, but holy shit, the fucking size of that spider. If this fucker bites me, I'm just going to start climbing up the side of walls. I think, fucking hell, size of that. Good Lord. I'm going to have to kill him just on principle. Okay, now, what was I going to say? Yeah, like, look, I don't. Everybody's had their say on it now, like, and the rhetoric is the same across the boxing world. But like, I suppose a kind of more, like I said to you in the group chat, like one of the more sickening things about that is that there was massive blockades and protests by ordinary workers over here in Ireland over the weekend over the government's excise on the fuel cost during this crisis, like, and they're getting no help from the government, and they got a carbon tax of 60%, and basically a lot of them are going to be going out of business, like, so they were protesting against the government. And that little bastard who was born rich already was fighting a one-legged man at a catch weight for 15 million on Netflix, like, and he's a fucking known drug cheat. Like, there's no justice, like, you know what I mean? There's absolutely no justice. It's only a cod being right, like. So the lesson to the kids is do whatever the fuck you want, and if you get caught, just fucking cry like a big baby, and eventually you'll get away with it. Like, absolutely horrible performance from Conor Benn. A horrible performance against a clearly injured Regis Prograis as well. He couldn't get his legs underneath him from the first round. A really, really poor welterweight, totally undeserving of a world title shot. Has never won, I know that's been said all day today, never won an area, never won a Commonwealth, never won a British, never won a European, never won a fucking interim, never won nothing, never was knocking on the door or in a fight with even a world champion. Really, really poor kid. I tell you how bad he is, right? Just on a basic observation level, like, just a basic. You don't have to be a boxing scientist. You don't have to be one of these guys who's on TikTok every day doing tactical breakdowns. You don't have to be the new Lee Wiley or boxer-sized Ben Davison to see this stuff. But he was fighting a southpaw last night. He had his lead foot on the inside for the whole fight, right? And he was swinging at Regis Prograis and missing him. And that's why he was missing him, because you're supposed to stand with your fucking lead foot outside the southpaw if you can. That's where you battle for position when you're fighting a southpaw, when you're an orthodox fighter. And the only
reason to have your foot in that place against the southpaw is if you want to try to jab them to death. And you're
he has no jab
that time. Yeah, there you go.
He can't jab anyway, so he didn't. The adjustments that were made came from the corner, fair enough, that's their job, but he only started to look half decent when he went downstairs to the body on Prograis. Prograis was carrying about 3 or 4 injuries and knew that he was retiring before he went into the fight and just wanted to survive. And he would have been able to survive because he was hitting him with the kitchen sink, catching him, and he has no power. Where's all this power gone? I wonder. So, not to be fucking preaching from the moral pulpit, because the other guy on the main event also went missing and was diagnosed with bipolar after getting caught with Angelone in the system, and nothing never happened about that either. Like, so look at you get tired talking about the same old shit. Boxing is rotten, but if you ever needed an example of how rotten it is, that was it last night. And Turkey Al Sheikh, 15 million. Man, can you just someone give me his number and just get me his WhatsApp or something? I must be able to touch this guy for a couple, at least 1.5 million. If Conor Benn's getting 15 million for that, like the biggest waste of money I've ever seen in my life in sport. That is the biggest overpayment possibly in the history of the boxing sport. That he got 15 million for that last night. A joke. A joke. Fury, I thought he looked a bit one-paced. I thought the legs are probably gone. 37, 18 months inactivity, off for 2 back-to-back losses, where he shipped a bit of punishment as well, shipped punishment to Wilder as well in the 3 fights. I thought he looked a shell of his former self, I'm not going to lie. I know commentators were singing his praises. I thought that was not as bad as Wilder to Chisora, but it wasn't great either. Thought Makhmudov caught him a little bit more than you used to see him getting caught, which is, look, he's out of the ring a long time, the ring rust. Fury clearly wants this Joshua fight for his legacy. He wants to be able to say, I knocked out Anthony Joshua. He wants to be able to say, I beat Joshua. Joshua, God help him, he's just not the sharpest knife in the drawer. Like, he's not this. As for as much of his business talk and all his branding and all this shit, like he's been PR. He's been PR programmed to within an inch of his life, media trained to within an inch of his life, and then he actually doesn't know what to say in any situation on the fly. He's always looking for the prolific line. It never comes. Like, he's just fucking ranting and raving. Like, so instead of getting up last night and doing the face off in the ring, go and sell the fight on Netflix, he starts talking about clout chasing. Like, it's 2026. He's fucking grown. He's trying to talk like a child. Like, you're clout chasing me. Will you ever fuck off? The two of yous go and get in the bin. The fight's fucking 10 years past the sell-by date. I know it's a big event. I know Netflix, it'll sell out. They'll get tons of money out of it. But if it happens, it's going to look like dog shit. It's not going to look, and it's not going to be, it's not going to have 1/10 of the drama, the jeopardy, or the actual, how would you put it, like public interest. The public interest will be in there, but like the tension, the between the two of them, like, is to test themselves as to see who is the best between the two of them, because they've both been beaten twice by Usyk, and AJ's had another couple of losses in between, including stoppage defeats. Like, so who fucking cares? It's not for a title. What's at stake here? Absolutely nothing. Only the two of them getting another big Saudi payday. Turkey can go ahead, man, with that fucking. If that's what was the point of that, like. Conor Benn fighting an injured Regis Prograis. Was he supposed to knock him out, like, to set up a big welterweight title? Because I tell you what, the top 10 welterweights, I don't know who they are now. Matty might be able to tell me who they all are. But any of the top 10 beat him emphatically. Emphatically. Any of them. He's not knocking out Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia's stretching. Even Shakur Stevenson, if he gave up the weight, I think Shakur Stevenson would stop him in the first 6 rounds, because you can't fight against southpaws. He'd be fucking eating punches left, right, and centre. He wouldn't be able to do a thing with Shakur Stevenson. Devin Haney would jab his head off and stop him. Mario Barrios, they kept on talking about Mario Barrios for him. Oh, he could go fight for the WBC instead of the Eubank rematch. Go up and get that title for Mario Barrios. Mario Barrios would smack the fucking shit out of Conor Benn, and so would Rolly Romero, and so would Pitbull Cruz, and so would any of them at 47. He hasn't a fucking hope of beating any of them. He's a nepo baby who pulled a few strings and got rich, and he done the dirt on Eddie Hearn, and he's gone away with the 15 million in his pocket now. But I don't think there's going to be a queue of people looking to sign him as a free agent off the back of that. So I don't want to spend too much time fucking talking negative about the sport. It's fucking doing its own job as it is. But I mean, our guys, like the hardcores, they must be fucking disappointed with that last night. Like, a big event on Netflix. What's it actually do? And Andre Ward, by the way, loved Andre Ward as a fighter, who's one of his biggest fans and biggest defenders. But I absolutely can't stand listening to him on. Like, everybody, stop saying adjustment. He must have said adjustment. You have a fucking a drinking game if you're watching a Netflix fight party and take a shot for every time Andre Ward says adjustment. Everybody's not as good as you. No, you know what I mean? Everybody's not as good of a fighter. They don't see the things that you see. So you're not going to get, like, he said he was looking for Conor Benn to make an adjustment for 9 rounds. Well, he's not going to be able to do that, like, because he's not a good fighter and he has no boxing IQ. So that adjustment's not coming. Like, look at something else. Yeah, poor night. Like, very, very poor night.
I agree. It was a poor night. I could not argue with it. That sums it up. Just relatively disappointed in that. But But Rob, what you have going for you at least is your gal Alycia Baumgardner is going to be in the ring on Friday night. So, fret not.
Try to stop ducking that smoke with Caroline Dubois.
I want to see that fight, Rob. I want to see that fight. You don't?
I'm like, did you ever see that scene in Last Dragon where? No, I'm not even going to get into it. I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Not the face, baby.
Well, yeah, I think the only other thing to discuss as far as interesting news from the boxing world, maybe to close it out, is that Floyd Mayweather Jr. owes a shit ton of money to the IRS, and his his trials and tribulations they continue forward at this point in time. And then there's the issue where he said that the Pacquiao fight is just going to be an exhibition, and now that's some sort of a breach of contract or something. Like, this guy has managed to squander so much. It's just unbelievable. I mean, by doing as much, he keeps his name in the headlines and such, but it's just, James, it's just staggering how anybody can make as many mistakes as Floyd, and everything about him is just is just built on a facade anymore. It doesn't matter what he did in the ring. He wanted to keep that persona, and I mean, it's sending him straight to the freaking poorhouse.
I think I speak for all of us when I say I'm shocked and appalled that Floyd Mayweather hasn't been paying his taxes properly.
Yeah,
they're making sound investments.
could he not just get an outsourced company or something to do that from? Like, I don't think that's that hard, is it? Like, you live in America as well. Like, the debt and taxes are the two certain things. Like, fucking sort it out. Like, Pacquiao was the same, wasn't he? Not paying his tax bills. Boxers not great at the old value-added tax. Like,
I think they use their resources elsewhere, don't they? I think they put all their energy and effort into the fighting, and by the time they're out of there, they're just waiting for a serpent in a suit to steer them the right way, aren't they, realistically?
Sadly, I think that's reasonably accurate. And it goes back a long way.
Do you reckon he gambled a lot of it? Because it's kind of incomprehensible to think that he spent that amount of bread. Like, I lost it. Like, that he earned that amount of bread and that he lost it just through bad investments. Like, he went through a stage where he was constantly posting betting slips. Like, do you reckon he just went fucking crazy over a short period and ended up fucking bankrupting himself?
Like, maybe, but also think about the idea, like the things he liked to do, the amount of travel he liked, upkeep of fucking jets and stuff to be able to do that. I think he owned multiple jets. And it's just the idea that, like, I bet his daily lifestyle, when you like just took everything he did and divide it down, you're probably talking like it probably cost him like $20,000 a day just to do his thing. And that's, his lifestyle. That's not talking about just, maintaining his assets and taxes and things of that nature. It's just unbelievable what this guy probably spent. Like,
well, think about this, Matty. Like, how it's come out in the press that Eddie Hearn and Matchroom either forwarded Conor Benn some money or loaned him some money, right? He wasn't an active boxer at the time, but he's still looking at mansions to buy, and he's looking for advances to buy flash cars. And it's like, where's your fucking head at, man? You haven't got an income. Like, why are you buying these things? Why do you need a flash car? It's incomprehensible to me, but I think with Mayweather,
like, he could lease the he could see. I'm with you there, James, because if you have that kind of persona and you want to be, obviously, as an image to upkeep and all that, like, lease the fucking car. I always take that from Andras. Lease the car, like, fucking give it back at the end of the year. You don't have to fucking, you can lease a new one at the end of the year. Like, don't be putting fucking, you need 300. But he did. He did. He got advance off Matchroom twice, I think, something like to the tune of fucking 800 grand or something like that.
Yeah, so what are you thinking? And with Mayweather, I think the money became so much of a part of his persona, and he was rolling with stacks of cash and making it rain and all this stupid shit. I think it took on momentum, like a life of its own almost, And if he's not the guy who's spending all the money, if he's not, remember he owned a strip club for a little bit as well that lost a load of money. How many of those investments has he made where he's just,
Jesus Christ. That's like a fucking fat kid owning a cake shop.
Exactly. So we don't know how many bad investments he's actually made. I don't suppose he'll let it come out.
I mean, he was selling a lot of windows over in the UK. I figured that would have made him a lot of money at least.
Yeah, you think the old double glazing we have to pick it up now with the fuel crisis? You know that way?
That would have kept him going for a few years at least. Hell, if he sells half his cars, he should be fine. He's not even own the fucking car for all we know.
That's the thing about it. Like, just get rid of some shit you don't need, motherfucker.
He's got like necklaces worth like $5 million. Sell a necklace, and you still won't be like. But the way he's going Broner route right now. I mean, do we believe in 10 years from now? God.
I don't think it's possible.
Floyd will be fucking dancing.
Well, the only reason I don't see that possible is that Mayweather don't drink, does he not? Like,
no, so
that's true.
I'm talking about just being ass out broke. I don't think Floyd will. I don't know if we'll ever see him like homeless type broke, but maybe. I don't know.
That's what they said about George Best, wasn't it? The troubled Irish soccer player from the 60s was one of the greatest in the world for Maddie, who doesn't. Maddie Gabe, fuck's sake. Justin, who probably not sure, but he said that it was a quote attributed to him that said that he spent all his money on fast cars and faster women and he wasted some of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing. Like these guys just don't know what life looks like after boxing, and so many of them have trouble settling into something different.
It's not just boxing though; it's every
pro.
It's a lot of pro athletes. Look at Antoine Walker over here. He was an NBA player. The NBA just hired him like 2 years ago. He does a clinic now where he tells people, "Don't be like me," because he made like $80-some million in his career, and he was on the streets. He was absolutely homeless, and he does like clinics now teaching them. Boxing doesn't have that shit, but the NBA decided, hey, we've got to start. And NFL was like,
financial literacy is very.
We have
important.
to help these people. Like, guess what, guys? You have to pay taxes. You have to do this thing. You have to do that.
Nobody likes it.
Boxing doesn't have boxing. I think Al Heyman.
This as well. This is another one. Musicians are another one. Okay.
Yeah, they just don't. They don't pay attention to that shit. They don't care. If you've never had anything your whole life, you're not going to worry about paying taxes once you get it. That you never paid taxes before. You just don't care. Like, nobody's taking my money. They get that mindset of, this is mine. I'm not. And if somebody that let's say that I may do somebody who's very close to me that was going to do some time for tax fraud. So even poor people don't like paying taxes. And so, I mean, it's just nobody does. You just have no effing choice. You have to do it. I don't care who you are. They're going to get you one way or another.
Yeah, like
the only person I know in the history of the sport of boxing who defeated the IRS was who?
Who fucking defeated the IRS?
There's an interesting trivia question for the heads though.
It certainly wasn't Joe Louis.
It wasn't Joe Louis. It wasn't a fighter either. I'll give you a clue. It was Don King.
Yeah, Don King always.
No shit.
Yes.
Don King took the IRS brought a case against Don King after I think he managed the Michael Jackson victory tour, and wasn't he something to do with that? And Don King put that out. Yeah, IRS took on Don King and lost. So there you go.
Jesus.
Yep.
Yes.
It's
Don
amazing.
Don King is like a cockroach. He's you're never going to get rid of him. You can't beat him. They're just there.
That's what someone said years ago about the nuclear holocaust happens. Like the only two people who are going to survive it are Bob Aaron and Don King.
Don't discount Keith Richards and Willie Nelson. I think they might have some abilities that you're discounting.
It's like, so Floyd, I don't think he realizes that you can't sue Don King and all those guys. You're not going to beat him. You're not going to beat him. He'll bury the money.
What hope has Christopher Lovejoy got? Very little.
No.
Fucking Floyd's probably, except, with far more money, just with his attitude, he's probably like Randy Quaid in Vegas Vacation, where he's got all sorts of money buried out in his yard and coffee.
He better. Obviously, he better to have now.
You bank coffee. You can sprinkle that shit on anything. Anyhow. But
also, I hate to say this, but I don't give a damn if Floyd goes broke. It's not my money. I really could give a shit.
Fuck him.
I never care.
Disastrous.
I just don't care.
Fucking fault, man.
Yeah, who cares? It's like, you fucked yourself up. Go off. You did it.
there's anything I hate in this world, it's bailing out rich people. It fucking
Yeah, like-
offends me to my goddamn core.
Yeah, you
Like, why
fucked up,
can't
move
they
on.
fail too? Fuck off.
And why did he? So I thought so. It's not a real fight, him and Pacquiao now. Is that what you just said? Like
I have
thought
no idea. Floyd said it was an exhibition and that it was not guaranteed it would be
So
at
he
the
just
Sphere.
so
And
if
then
he
No,
Pacquiao
Pacquiao's side for thinking it was going to count on the record. I know Floyd has come out and tried to change
yeah,
the
Floyd's-
terms himself afterwards and
covered-
saying it's an
yeah.
exhibition.
Yeah, he's covering his ass because he's probably going to lose this time around. So
he
wants
got
to
in the
have it
gym
all
and he's
lined
like,
up.
he got in the gym and he's like, something ain't clicking anymore.
No,
And
he's
it's-
45, 6 years old. It's not clicking anymore.
I think he's 48 actually.
And he saw that Pacquiao is still like kind of still fighting. So yeah, he got to realize maybe we
It's all
need to
clicking.
change this.
It's to say his shoulders clicking, his ankles clicking, his fucking knees are clicking, everything's clicking.
Yeah, he's got to change it up now. Because I mean, think about it. Which would be worse for him, losing his money or his O? That's like a 50-50 for him. I don't know.
Oh, definitely, man.
Yeah, his whole life is.
You
built
lose
off
the
that
O when you're 48. I think the bigger loss for him is, do you know what? That fucking Kama is a bitch, but Floyd had a lot of really, really horrible shit to say about Ali when people say Ali was the greatest. Because in his prime, Floyd was making a case that TBE thing came up from him. He was calling himself the best ever. Nobody was calling him that. Like, he called himself that. Like, that TBE thing that's like the quote. Like, and I remember he was real disparaging to legends of the sport. And he made fun of them for dying being broke, and he made fun of them for dying not having their facilities, and he said shit about Robinson, he said shit about Ali. He was a right nasty little fucker, he was. So I don't think anyone's going to have sympathy if he loses all his money.
Yeah, because he made fun of Joe Louis and all the like Ernie Shavers and all them having to like be like Vegas greeters and shit, that they were just like so beneath him. He's going to be greeting people in Vegas pretty fucking soon.
Motherfucker, at least they got a free buffet. What'd you get from hawking windows?
Nothing, obviously.
Jesus Christ.
Mm.
It's such a fucking mad.
See, Floyd doesn't realize you might go to the UK and make money. The United States still wants that money because you're a citizen. You can't just not pay. No matter what you make in other countries, you still got to come here.
Oh, didn't know it worked like that. Oh, shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Can't go overseas tax-free, no?
Oh, yeah. It's like because you're still considered a citizen here. Like, you have to pay, like, that's income. And
Why doesn't he fight in Dubai? You don't have to pay tax over there, do you?
No, because if you're a resident in this country and you go, whatever you do, you still have to pay taxes for that money because it's income. You have to report it. You can't just go and, like, sneak away. And no, they don't let that shit happen.
You know, it's a pain in the ass to move that money around without the government knowing about it. And it's just this moment in time when Floyd's probably like, God damn it, I should have gotten to know that Jeffrey Epstein guy. Shit.
He might have already knew him. Just see, he was over with a few. I'm gonna say a great bunch of lads, but a different bunch of lads there.
God, Floyd. Floyd. If he got an invitation, he would have been on that island. Allegedly. He would have.
I knew a guy. Yeah, I might have told this before, but I worked with a guy before, and they were out in Vegas, and he was out in Vegas with his friends, and one of the guys was like a video game designer, and he had a nice watch on him, and they met Floyd somewhere out, and Floyd had a look at this guy's watch, and they were like jawing about the watch or whatever, and your man was telling him what he did in terms of video games, and like just pitched him an idea on the spot, just taking the piss basically, like about some kind of Mayweather promotions video game or something. Floyd ended up like fucking bringing him out to the fucking crib and everything, like fucking like at the end of the time, and like spent so much time with him that the boys were wanting to leave, and he kind of like, he didn't want them to leave. It was like the same story that Broner told about him before. It's like he don't really have any real friends, I don't think, for all that fucking money. Like, and he's quite easy to get to and manipulate. You know that way, like.
That's why Gervonta snuck out at night to get away from him.
Yeah, so Broner said that before as well. Yeah, he snuck away from him before they got a flight away, and that's how that was the beginning of the two of them falling out. He didn't want to leave. He wanted to keep him in prison.
How bad is it that Adrian Broner has enough of you?
Yeah,
and he's got to sneak away.
So I have enough time in this mansion. There has to be some fucking car I can get to. This is
well, and for a guy like Broner, that's got to be kind of boring too, since Floyd doesn't like drink or get high or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like Broner like wants to get down and shit, and
Oh yeah.
Floyd's like, no, let's watch my old fights.
You ain't gonna catch me drinking no Guinness beer.
You're right. I would be surprised if you were at Floyd's house and you had to watch his greatest hits every night.
Yeah, he's just watching him fucking fighting Diego Corrales. Like I seen this one when it was on Floyd. Did we have to? Here's this Abjuda one again.
Berto, we watched the Berto fight.
You'd have to.
I'm gonna analyze each round.
You'd have to. You'd have to fuck with him though. It'd be like, hey Floyd, can we watch the first Castillo fight?
Yeah.
I lost that footage.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
My thing is this. Oh, you'd be hearing that all night, wouldn't you? You'd be like, oh, no. Fuck again. Here comes my thing is this. Oh.
So, yeah. Well, I think we covered it all. It was a good time. Des stopped in today. Rob was able to join us towards the end. We had Justin. We had James from the beginning. We had a nice active chat. This names like Fury seem to definitely bring up the numbers. So may his fat ass fight for as long as we care to continue on talking to you people.
Fighting man. Boxing. Oh, one positive thing to say. Nice tribute to Ricky Hatton. Fair folks for that. That was nice.
So, but yeah, you folks have a great week ahead. We're going to take next week off. That's why we went ahead and previewed a couple of weeks of fights. I was looking at it and like, but we'll be with you guys because the week in 2 weeks from today, we're going to be offering you previews of the Benavidez and Ramirez card from Vegas. And we're also going to be giving you guys a preview of Naoya Inoue and Junto Nakatani as well. So we got a lot of good stuff going. So you folks enjoy a week not hearing our stupid asses, and we will see you fine folks 2 weeks from today. If it's a Sunday, 90% of the year, it's the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse. Be well.